Sammy Guevara and Matt Hardy, the main event. And I enjoyed this. Matt didn't change clothes in the ice machine. He didn't appear and disappear and teleport. Sammy Guevara is great. And okay, everybody now cover your ears. Cornette never says anything good about modern wrestlers. Yes, he's been involved in some silliness, but they all have. And you know, he's not the one calling the shots. But when you put him in the ring to have a match, he's got that slappable face. He's got the heel energy. He's got the fucking attitude. He's really coming along as far as his work, actually performing moves. He's nailing things. And he's very athletic, but also he has the body language and the attitude, and he's picking up little things that you see on either how to sell or how to register or just how to get something across. He's really doing well. So, and Matt had a match instead of doing the fucking, 3,000-year-old bullshit. He kicked the shit out of Sammy for a while with good action, and then when Guevara slipped that twist of fate and hit the kick to the head, boom, that was a nice little heat spot. But then Matt takes back over, but he gets Rona'd and rolled to the floor, and that's the only thing. Another dive. If he had been rolled to the floor and Sammy had even done a fucking baseball slide and kicked him into something and then went out and posted him like a heel, but he does the dive where he pretty much missed Matt, but they both sold it, and that's the way he really got the heat on him to go to the break. Why are the heels diving anyway? And I know, but yes, because they can. He can execute that move. But what I'm saying, a guy to run and dive out of the ring onto his opponent is spectacular, and it's explosive, and it shows courage and bravery and fire. And it makes no sense for a fucking heel to do it. It should be a big explosion from a babyface that's had all they can stand, that can't stand no more. But anyway, point is, Sammy could have fucking slid out and fucking posted him, got the same fucking response. Anyway, when they come back from the break, Matt's making a little comeback. He's firing back, and JR said, Matt Hardy, he's lost Vanguard 1, for God's sake. Like, it's the worst thing that ever happened to him in his life. But I'm sure Matt was probably in charge of this match, but it was a good TV match. They had enough people and noise that you forgot about the atmosphere. Sammy did a good fucking job. And finally, I thought maybe one twist of fate too many. But because here's the thing. Sammy Guevara is one of those guys who takes that, like Val Venus, when he'd take a DDT and back in the 90s, it would stick him like a fence post. His feet be straight up in the air. You remember that? It looks so fucking memorable. Sammy Guevara is one of these guys, takes one of these spikes great and Kyle O'Reilly has done it. I've seen him do it too. These skinny guys can really do that great. But if you do it 3 times in the same match, people can see through it because then they start to catch on. That's why if you do something that's different, if you take a bump or sell a move or do some kind of move offensively even that is really good and gets a shock reaction from people and looks different than everybody else or looks in any way convincing in the modern wrestling atmosphere, never do it twice the same match, because the second time people will notice something and the third time they'll start to figure out whatever your trick is, and it will be less impressive. But anyway, Matt finally got the fucking twist fate, boom, 1, 2, 3. And then he goes out and gets a chair and he's going to bash fucking Sammy Guevara's head in, I guess, because after all, he got locked in a fucking freezer. So retribution. But here comes the inner circle on the screen. And here was another deal. They did a good match and got a point across that at least Matt Hardy is fucking ready for the pay-per-view. But now the inner circle is there and they've got Olivier, old Kenny Olivier, the world's greatest living wrestling artist, slammed up against the goalpost, and Santana and Ortiz are holding him. And Hager tossed a bucket of water on him. Were they going to do a wet T-shirt contest, or what was that all about? Just waking him up, I guess, from the beating that he had
I was hoping they were going to warn him.
Sustained. Yeah, but I wish they would. But he has to be flat on his back for that. Jericho's mic wasn't on at first, minor glitch, but they've got Kenny Olivier on the football field. They're beating the shit out of him. And now Matt Hardy sees this on the screen. And Jericho goes over and hits Kenny Olivier with a pretty decent shot in the stomach with a baseball bat, even from a left-handed swing. I didn't know that Jericho was left-handed. I don't know if I would have trusted that if he's not. But anyway, he hits him with the baseball bat, and then suddenly appearing in the stands, in the empty stands with masks and in full gear, including killing the business on their fucking fruity little goddamn vests, is the Road Warrior Bucks.
Well, no. They're the Road Warriors, Buck and Skullet. So it's Road Warrior Buck and Road Warrior Skullet, not the Road Warrior Bucks. Yes.
Road Warrior Buck and Road Warrior Skullet appear, and Santana and Ortiz immediately run to them so that the Bucks can each dive off of the grandstand or whatever on them. And I swear to God, I don't know which one. I think it may have been Road Warrior Buck instead of Balding Buck, but he missed his fucking guy. He went over the top of his fucking guy. And then the Road Warrior Buck and Skullet beat up Santana and Ortiz and Hager and Jericho. They grab a chair. They're throwing chair shots. So you have 4 guys on the field, one of them armed with a baseball bat, and one babyface that's already been hit by a baseball bat. The 2 Bucks show up, and they're kicking the 4 heels' asses with the base, not even using the baseball, but the heels still have the bat, I think. And goddamn, then Matt Hardy arrives. And I'm like, well, because he had to run from next door. Thanks for coming. We've already got this. But then, wouldn't you know, I swear to God, Shitstain booked this. As soon as the odds were even and all the fucking baby faces had showed up, then the heels took over. And so Matt Hardy was the last one to go down, because you see Matt Hardy hit, and we're not going to call Ortiz anymore. We're going to call him Pampiro Firpo Jr. You see Matt Hardy hit Firpo Jr. 2 times with the baseball bat, once in the stomach, once across the back. And then they shoot something else, and they come back 15 seconds later, and Firpo has the bat beating up Matt Hardy. So Matt got the fucking memo that, well, goddamn, soon as I get here, now they're going to take over on us all. And so then the heels beat up the baby faces when the odds were even, until Adam Page, in the most impressive thing in the whole fucking show, ran the length of the football field in 10 seconds. I counted it 1001, 1002 while he was wearing cowboy boots. He hit the guy. He started his comeback with a big fucking charging clothesline at the end of the field and fucking made a comeback, and the heels kind of fed him. And that was great. And then somehow, once again, the fight just trailed off, and Inner Circle, who had been beaten and pulverized by everything in the world, wandered off, and the baby faces, who had been beaten and pulverized by everything in the world, were yelling, "Come back here." And somebody said, "Inner Circle jerk, we're ready." And they separated. I don't know what the fuck I'm looking at. It's like they're making this shit up as they go along, even.
There's no creative leadership there, and part of the problem is the people who are in roles of creative leadership, specifically the son of the billionaire in charge, thinks he knows what he's doing and is told by plenty of people that he knows what he's doing, but I don't know. I guess I'm just not the audience for it. The more I talk about this, the more people will say that I'm completely out of touch with what
they own. A football team, right?
His dad does, yes.
Okay. Does the owner of the football team also serve as coach?
No, actually, it's funny. In baseball, when Ted Turner bought the Braves, at one point he made himself the manager, and then Major League Baseball has now, there's a rule since that point that no owner is allowed to manage a baseball team ever again, because Ted made such a circus out of it when he did.
Well, and also because most owners have a shit ton of money, but most coaches or managers or trainers, depending on the sport, have actual experience in that sport, even not at a high level. As the old saying goes, Ric Flair is not the most prolific trainer of great wrestlers in history. Sometimes the great ones are not natural teachers, but all the great coaches have played the game. All the great trainers have fought the fight. All the great managers have in whatever sport, the owner does not necessarily, the only reason that it got to be a cliche in wrestling is that the owner was also the fucking boss, or the boss of the wrestlers, is that for the most part, wrestling had so many hometown heroes made by the national TV boom in the 50s that they all went home and either bought or stole their own home territories. But they were stars in wrestling first before they were promoters and matchmakers and owners. And they knew what worked and what didn't. And they knew when to say no and when not to. And they knew that, sometimes who to fuck around. Do you let the talent fuck you around, whether inadvertently or not, whether they mean to or not, by their actions, they diminish your company? Or do you put your foot down and either piss them off by not letting them do what they want to do, or fuck them around first before they fuck you around? You don't just step in at that level. Obviously, national cable television, become a professional wrestler when you've never been on TV before because you look like shit, and it shows. And you don't just step in at that level as a booker, even if you got a lot of good ideas, if you've never had any experience before. And you definitely, and I found out that out in the past, even though my first go round, I was just a minion and not even the fucking decision maker. But you also, you don't step into any high level position at your chosen profession without having any experience at a lower level position, at coming up through the ranks. You don't go to the NBA without playing neighborhood ball and high school ball and college ball. You don't become the owner of a fucking shoe store without selling a few shoes. And the one thing that I saw missing that I've been born right on is the one fucking guy to say, fuck you, that's stupid, and here's why. And we're all going to do things my way. And that's what creates every great wrestling promotion since the dawn of time. This is not a fucking democracy. It's not a goddamn group project. It's not up for committee. It's one motherfucker, whether it be Eddie Graham or Bill Watts or Dusty Rhodes or goddamn Leo Garibaldi or fucking Louis Tillett.
Vince McMahon.
Or Vince McMahon or Jack Pfeffer. Or fucking goddamn, whoever, the Paul Bowser, for fuck's sake, and whoever it may be, said, here's what we're going to do. And here is, if you're going to do what you want to do, does what you want to do fit in my universe? Does it fit in my world of logic? That's why all the territories had different styles, because they were promoted by different people that had different outlooks on wrestling, and especially they wanted to sell their people what they were comfortable with when they were active themselves, which is why that all the territories had the different personalities. But the one thing that they all agreed on was, we don't fucking make a joke out of this shit, and we treat it like a shoot because it's our livelihood. And whether people know or whether they don't know, we're not going to fucking tell them. And they don't need to know any more than they need to know. And you could say the same thing about the world of magic, or about any showbiz presentation for that matter. That guy ain't here. And I saw that off the top of the fucking bat, and I realized that there was a lot of fucking outlaw-minded people that wanted to entertain themselves at the expense of the fans rather than on their behalf. And that's what we've got. So there you go.